Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you doing, dear students? I hope you all are doing well at your home. Dear students, I welcome you once again in Pakistan International School TAIF's virtual learning class for biology. And this is biology class for grade second year. Dear students, in this lecture number 31, we will see chapter number 19, the last topic, that is about social behavior. If you remember that we have studied lots of different types of behavior, innate behavior and learning behavior. Now we will see social behavior. So let's get started. Social behavior means the interaction among animals of the same species or different species as well. So animals depend on communications for their social interaction. So like in social behavior, interaction between individuals develop as evolutionary adaptations. That is evolutionary adaptation, like how the animal is behaving socially with one another, interacting with one another. So there are lots of like types of social behavior by which the organisms can interact with one another. Communication skills are there, in which um, lots of different types of behavior can come, like how they interact with one another in intraspecific. So there can be hostile behavior, that can be helpful behavior, and then we can see agonistic behavior, like they don't give any harm. Then we are having dominance hierarchy behavior, which is also very important and common in the animals. Cooperation, altruistic behavior. So we'll discuss all about these behaviors in a few minutes. Then if we see the social interaction of different behaviors, so you can see how the organisms behave differently in different situations, different circumstances. So you can see what type of behavior is this agonistic, and as well as they vary in size and stability, these organisms, so they behave differently. And then here is prey and predator behavior, like competition. Then here does not help the organism thrive, it will live alone. So like that, these are some other behaviors. And here, that is aggregation, because unrelated genetically live in proximity to each other. And now we will see in detail some of the situations, some of the interaction in the behaviors. So that is one of them is agonistic behavior, in which there is a threatening point and submissive rituals as well. Like sometimes they give like symbols, and symbolically they threat the organisms threat others, and they don't give harm to any the other member or the other species member. So that can be happen in territoriality and competitor aggression behavior also. Like the animals don't give harm to others. Sometimes there is a submission type of behavior, like the animal just submit in front of others if the just the in front member is bigger, and what we can say, that is having that is stronger than the other one. So agonistic behavior, that can be the behavior associated with a threat, attack, or defense. So in that the person, the organism can escape. Passivity, passivity also can be an aggression, can be there. And here that we can say that they show their aggression to obtain food, to facilitate access to another sex, and to establish a social dominance in that one. Like that can also be in dominance hierarchy and territoriality, and to win the territory, and to protect their young. That can also show the agonistic behavior. In animal society, if we just see another type of uh, attitude or interaction, that can be animal society and aggregation. Actually, animal society and aggregation are two different terms. Aggregation is called the just like we can say the animals don't behave interactively with one another, but there is just the group of organisms of different species, or among the species just living over there. So that is aggression behavior. It means the we can say sorry, not aggression, aggregation, like the compiling of, or just sitting of the birds. You can see here just they are roosting together, and trees, but they can be the different species as well, but they are not interacting with one another. In animal society, animals interact with another behaviorally. That can be intraspecific also, or interspecific also. There can be cooperation, division of labor, like just for the feed, for preying, for sex, like different type of cooperations they can do. Then the other type of interaction, that is hostile, and the other one is helpful. So hostile, that can be interspecific aggression or intraspecific aggression, like when um, and the animal shows the aggression towards the member of the same species for different purposes, and sometimes they attack on the members of their own species. That is called intraspecific hostile behavior. For example, honeybees kill the old worker bees by themselves. They are the members of the same species, so they kill by themselves. um, and sometimes they kill drones which are infertile and which do not mate with female uh, queens. So the just worker bees just kill those drones as well. So helpful behavior is also very common in human beings as well as and all other organisms. So there's helpful social behavior includes mating behavior, family interactions, and activities of larger groups. So that can be the result of the fertilization of the eggs, courtship. That can also be the helpful behavior, and helpful in preying behavior also. Next, we will gonna see very, very important territorial behavior there. That is actually the methods by which an animal or group of animals protects its territory from the incursion of other members of a species or from other species. So by Burt in 1943, just he described the territory is the protective part of the home or area around the home where the animals live or travels. So Heidegger, 1950 and 1961, he just gave the definition of territory, that area of animals lives in and prevents other animals or other members of a species from entering that area. So for territorial behavior, animals defend their territory from members of the same species. That is an instinctive behavior. So sometimes they do aggressions at the time, like which we have seen before, the forceful behavior just to make them dominant and having the control over the other animal which is going to enter in the territory. And sometimes they just having the submission behavior, like if the um, other member is stronger, so the animal of the territory just give the submission behavior and they submit itself in front of the other. So many animals have specific area that occupy called their territory, like that is not boundary, actually the territory, the area where they live, and they violently defend their area. So that can be the competition or that can be the aggression. Sometimes they do competition and displays and secure their territories by from the invaders and they kill them. And sometimes they show aggressions in which they is just agonistic behavior when they don't just harm others, just they show their dominance. So very, very good example in this is territorial behavior in mountain gorillas. So we know that and scientists have discovered that gorillas really are territorial and behave territorial behavior. So their behavior is very much similar to our own, like the human beings. So what they do, actually, gorillas recognize their ownership of specific regions. So when like any other organisms try to enter in that territory. So you can see here they started to beat their chest strongly, and they show their aggression, or we can say the agonistic behavior, just to threat that invader. So that can be like that can be for the sake of prey, like for the sake of mating and different type of purposes. The invaders come in the territory, but they show their aggressions. So they live in the groups. Those groups are called troops. Troops. And the oldest, strongest adult male, that is called silverback. Silverback, and that is dominant in whole of the troop, and that is having the hold for the mating for the females, as well as like it can go anywhere for other territory for the same purpose. So when they exhibit territorial behavior, they stand upright like this, and this on the two legs and pounding their chest in order to intimate whatever threat they have been given to the invader. So now we will see dominance hierarchy. Dominance hierarchy is a type of social hierarchy or social behavior that arises when members of the social group interact. One social group, the members of these social groups interact with one another to create a ranking system. Like when there is a ranking system, there is ranking system in other organisms. So the highest one is is dominant. So it shows its dominancy in all type of circumstances. So in social behavior, specifically, members are likely to compete for access of limited sources and for mating opportunities as well. So if the resources are scarce, so there is cooperation among the organisms of the same species or same group. But if they are abundant, so there is no competition, like the resources are abundant, like feed and like mating opportunities. So when if there is a limited resource of that like any of any of the, like, for eating and for praying, for mating, for shelter, like that, if that is limited source, so what they do, like if they are having a scattered resource, so the competition in speed, which reach the first, they will get the resource. But if that is concentrated, so they compete in aggressivity, and aggressively they compete, and they just show the dominance hierarchy. So how they show the dominance hierarchy, that is not only in the birds, but that can be in the animals as well, other mammals. So for example, in gray wolf, the highest rank is given to the alpha wolf, which is responsible for making decisions and necessarily the strongest member and managing the pack also. So this is all the pack of the wolves, in which the lower than alpha, that is beta rank, and that helps the alpha in decision making, the best candidate for alpha, like the very close to the advisor as well, and it commands throughout the packs all and give feedback to alpha member, or the highest rank of that pack. So then there is a delta rank, plays the role of scapegoat, always have to submit all other dominant wolves like alpha and beta, they have to submit themselves in front of them and help the dominant wolves in hunting, like beta and alpha. So beta is holding the rank on these omega and delta. Alpha is having the role on all these categories. So if we see the omega one, they are watching boundaries, they are the workers, as well as in case of danger, they are want to just take care of the pack and protect the guaranteed safety of the pack. So this is also happened in the birds. So that's very common example, that is the pecking order. So it determines that who can eat first and who can peck who. So here is order determined quickly and seldom changes are there. So in chickens, in poultry, rooster is the main and strongest member of the group. So pecking order is like found in feeding purpose, for nesting, and for roosting also. So here the low status individuals often get less feed, appear nervous and frightened, and feed early in the morning and later at dusk, while dominant birds roost, and that's why they just avail that opportunities of when the dominant members are not present, or they are just they are going to having a rest. So in dominance hierarchy, we know that alpha and first ranked hen is in the pack order is dominant, and she is not packed by any other, so that is the rooster. So then it can usually drive off all other members by its threat and actual packing. So alpha and also first access to the resources, beta second, and then the delta and omega. Now we are having another example, or we can say the type of social behavior, that is altruism. Altruism, that is derived from French word that means altrui, means other people, or Latin word that alter, it means other, like different. So that term first coined by Auguste Comte, that was the French person. And altruism, actually the name is telling you that this is the social behavior where the actor is harmed while the others get benefit. Actor means the person who is performing this altruism. So that is the social behavior in which this person is performing altruism, but he isn't not thinking about himself. So evolutionary biology, an organism is said to behave altruistically when its behavior benefits other organisms at a cost to itself, like the person itself. It can be on the cost, like uh, he can get harm or he can get nothing, but just he donates or it donates all its life for the purpose of others. So altruistic behavior can be found most commonly in these two animals as well as in human beings. That can also be performed, like when some persons donates himself or herself for the purpose of others. So a behavior which benefits others involves risk and cost of individual displaying the behavior. So actually this is very, very important, that this behavior does not consider parental care, because parents also just give the same type of behavior, but that is not altruism. Like they just donate their life for their kids and just for rearing them up, for growing them up, but this is not the altruism. So example one, we can have the worker bees, and they dies while defending whole of the colonies against attacking of west, and just they look after the colony as well as they work for the whole of the colony for uh, whole of the life, and they die infertile. So vervet monkeys, they also give alarm calls when predator approaches, and alarm calls attract attention of predators, and other monkeys have more time to escape, but he is still present over there. He can get harmed from by the. So altruistic person or altruistic behavior, and the recipient of that can get can get the benefit by survival of the genes which are shared with the recipient, but actually that has a gene has to be shared in that. But mostly in altruistic behavior, genes are not shared, so that is survival rate for altruistic person is not very good. So behavior might lead to an advantage for the individual displaying behavior in the future. So their individual who is displaying this behavior can get benefit, but it can be the benefit after some time in the future, but not at that time. Okay, so a very good example of social behavior, of altruistic behavior, we are having in honeybees, that worker honeybees that live for whole of their life just for the sake of what we can say to maintain, to manage, and to get security to give to the beehive and queen, as well as some worker bees. They just bring up or make all honey and royal jelly and wax in that. So they are just perform their function in just for the sake of others, not for themselves. So as we know that in honeybees colony, we are having three races: queen, drones, and workers. You can see the structural differences in them. So queens is fertile female which lays eggs and hatch into larvae. But it depends on the feed which is given to the larvae. That is a special diet that is called royal jelly, and that is special type of protein which later develop into queens. And again, the queens produce a pheromones. Pheromones are the chemicals which are produced by the body of queen bees, and on which the other bees are dependent. So we'll talk about in a few minutes. So regulate the activities of the workers as well. These are some important uh, functions of a queen in the beehive colony. Then there is a second race, that is drone, that is fertile male. Fertile male because it is by the fertilization of that is actually unfertile male. Drones are the males bees that fertile the egg. They fertile the they fertile the eggs of the queen. Then the other category we are having worker bees. So these are sterile female, and they are the workers. They kept all the functions of the beehive, and as well as they are infertile females. So if we just see here that when the egg is laid by the female, so unfertilized male, that is haploid. That is haploid. Here is unfertile male. So drone is unfertile male. So because they are unfertile, that's why they are haploid in structure. Okay, so like they are having haploid number of chromosome in that. So next category is fertile females, that is here now. So then this fertilized female, that is produced by the fertilization of the egg, if they are fed by royal jelly, so they can be queen. And if they are unfed and with the royal jelly, so they become workers, because that is the restriction of food. Both are diploid because both are having like complete set of chromosomes, but here that is unfertilized. So here there is a mistake, that drones are unfertile male and workers are fertile females. So what happened when there is a breeding season? So just female move from the hive, and that are secreting pheromones, and after that chasing by this male haploid, that is drones, chased by the drones, and the drones fertilize the eggs of females, and after fertilization the drones die. The drones which do not fertilize the egg in the beehives, just worker bees just sting them and destroy them and kill them. The eggs, all the eggs are which are fertilized, they are formed into the females, not in the males. If they are left unfertilized, so they become drones again, and they don't perform any of the function except this fertilization of the female eggs. So these females, if they are fed properly with excess food and with royal jelly, so they become queen, and others become workers. So workers spend whole of their life for the security and for production of royal jelly, as well as honey, as well as the other function is that to feed the eggs for whole of the life. And the queen which is produced now in there, that is grown up queen with its like some swarm of females and some male drones, it moves to the next hive and make colony over there. So that is actually the function of altruistic behavior, which is done by worker bees for whole of their life, and at the end they die as workers as well as haploid drones. So dear students, that's it for today. But before finishing this one, we are gonna having a review of this chapter. Like we are studying, we have studied behavior, in which one is instinct or innate behavior, the other is learning, and the third one is social behavior. So if we just talk about innate behavior, in that we have studied tropism, and nastic movement, taxis movement, kinesis, reflex action, and instincts. which are reflex action, which are both are naturally and inborn and genetically uh, genetically introduced in the genes. So then we have seen learning behavior. In that we are having habituation, conditioning. In conditioning we have studied classical and instrumental conditioning, that is called trial and error conditioning. And then we are in complex erroring, in which latent learning, insight learning, and imprinting, we have studied all these. Then we have studied types of social behavior. In that we have studied hostile and helpful behavior, agonistic behavior, dominance hierarchy, altruistic behavior, and then we have seen territoriality, to secure their territory. So they behave like aggressively, sometimes agonistically, sometimes hostile behavior they adopt, a submissive behavior they can adopt as well. Dear students, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed and understood the lecture. Inshallah, we will start next chapter in the next lecture. Wish you all the best. Allah Hafiz.